This is the report for the saturated paste test. The sample location and sample ID will be carried over from your Mehlich 3 or your other information packet, as is the lab number for the day, which will be different for saturated paste reports versus Mehlich 3 reports. Here they're going to list the water used. Most often it'll say DI, which means deionized, which is the standard protocol. But if you provide your water, it'll say H2O provided. pH is pretty self-explanatory, and I try to compare that to the Mehlich 3 to see if they're the same. Soluble salts is the total exchange capacity consideration for the saturated paste test, where it's kind of like the total nutrients in that soil. And because the saturated paste test is more of a water chemistry test operated on a soil leachate, they use a lot of water chemistry terminology. So calcium is a salt, potassium is a salt. Anything that disassociates in water in chemistry is defined as a salt. So this one's kind of misleading, and you would think maybe a salt is bad, but this is kind of the gas tank consideration for the various soil tests. Chloride and bicarbonate are both bad things that we want to keep as low as possible, and most often come from water, or in the case of potting soils, chloride will come from manures or any sort of agricultural byproduct. Bicarbonate is a byproduct of the weathering of rocks in the aquifer, so that can be elevated in a lot of well waters. You'll have sulfur and phosphorus, and you'll notice that calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium have two different values. So we have the part per million value and this little thing down here, which is milliequivalents per liter, which the base saturation consideration for the saturated paste test is calculated using the milliequivalent value, which is different than the Mehlich 3 test. And if you want to look into what that means, you can jump on the internet and do a basic search. But basically, the percentage of calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium, which is reflected down here, is calculated using the milliequivalent per liter. So as on the Mehlich 3 test, we have the base saturation consideration, which is the distribution of what's there. This is the distribution of what cations are present on the saturated paste test. And then for the trace elements are listed down here. If you like that video and you'd like to learn more about managing mineral chemistry for living soil systems, we're getting ready to launch our 2024 Soil Balancing Masterclass series. In 2024, we're going to have 4 sessions. Each session will have 8 class periods that are 2 to 3 hours long and have a Q&A at the end. I'll cover some material live and then we'll discuss it, and I record the Q&A and I upload it for your reviewing and listening into the future. We made a change at the end of last year to where we're allowing a continuous learning environment, and so if you join any masterclass, you can continue to join that same masterclass into the future as often as you want. So we're going to do 4 main masterclass sessions this year, and then in between the sessions, we'll meet at least once a month in between those times. So again, that's starting February 2nd, April 12th, June 28th, and September 13th. Head on over to the website, click the apply, and we'll see you in the next masterclass session.